I was supposed to correct them, but, you know, and I don't type, okay? Now, there are some things I don't do. I mean, I type for my own, you know, my little emails and stuff like that, but for say, like, I can't set up stuff like that, okay? I don't have to. That ain't my gift. Somebody else has the gift to do that. And so we don't, we have to do everything, because we don't, okay? So really, that's the
Yeah, just have to
over there, okay. I learned that from the first time, you have to have quality control. So they set up everything and put it all on and let people in and stuff like that. Otherwise, you have very unscrupulous people. They say, man, come on, you could go and such a thing and use that Zoom ID, you get free classes and you don't have to pay. When you all paying through your nose. So you have to do all of these little things. And one of the things that I don't like, I try to be an example for the things I am and the things I ask people to do. And I don't feel that any HR people should practice tardiness. There are certain things HR people cannot do. Because if you have to lead and guide and monitor everything and everybody else, you know, so I'm not feeling too happy about this, right? Because this was supposed to be a quarter two, you know? Marketing on? I guess not. Okay, perhaps what you can do is, and you might have done it before, but do it again for me. Read your course aim and your course objective. This is what I'm going to be doing for you, trying to go through those things with you. And then there is that little introduction exercise. On page 4. And I would like you to fill that out as well. And like I said, don't feel shy, write up the book, write it up. Write it up. See, it's supposed to look like that. See mine? Malcolm, can you tell us? What's going on? Oh my Lord. Oh, okay. Salika and Margaret.
And then the rest was waiting on them to click the link.
Okay. So how come we're not seeing it?
Yeah, they don't have that keyboard. They can call.
Salika and Margaret? Can y'all hear me?
Good evening.
Yeah. Hi.
Hey, put your camera on. We want to see you. There you go. Very good. I have 3 people with me in the class. So that's good to see you. Miss Monica?
Yes. Hi.
Salika, let me tell you, after doing this for several sessions, child, don't worry the looks. Nobody cares. Just have on clothes, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I have one clothes.
I don't do no porn on there. Okay. So, but don't worry, this as a class, this is not about, you know.
Right.
I have never seen people look so bad as like when they're doing these Zoom classes and stuff. So, I figure I had right here, got it all my life, you know, black, y'all get used to it. Because this is not changing. Margaret, you there?
Yes, ma'am. I'm driving home right now to get home, but I'm here.
Margaret, be safe on the road. Okay?
Yes, ma'am. I'm being safe.
Okay, don't speed and even though you're late. I'm gonna speed and be careful, please. Okay. So the administration had a little hitch. The emails were supposed to go out for people to be ready, and apparently they didn't get it, so we're not gonna worry about that. So just go ahead. Margaret and Salika,
Yes.
this is what
Yes, ma'am.
this is what I'm asking you all to do before we get started. You have your guidebook, right? Your little guidebook, introduction
Yes.
to,
Yes.
okay?
Yes.
So I would like you to read again the course aim,
Okay.
the course objective, and then on page 4, you're going to see up at the top an introductory exercise. I would like you to fill that out because then I'm going to ask you all to share what it is that what your expectations are and what do you want to do with this class, because that's important in how you're going to receive and decipher the information. Because there's something as we do this class you're going to find out, and that is HR concepts and the dynamics of HR are pretty much the same, but it could be very different how it is administered in the different organizations, because the culture and environment of different organizations calls for different types of things. And so HR has to be tailored to that organization and what that organization's expectations are. And so we are going to go through all of that. And there are very many people who have no idea of what their organization is. So they get very frustrated. And, you know, they want things to happen that can't happen in the framework of an organization. To give you an example of that, it would be like, take like a hotel and then take a government ministry. They are built on two completely different frameworks. So you cannot expect the same dynamics and the same things that happen in a hotel framework to happen in a government framework. And that's why people get kind of frustrated sometimes and say, oh, you know, and the government ministry is slack and this and that and that and that. But it's the way the system is built. And that is what I think once people begin to understand that, then they kind of relax and have fun with this thing.
But I think that all organizations should have a certain level of professionalism, and that is lacking in most of the government. Like everyone is just so laid back, especially when it comes to customer service. There should be a level, you know, of customer service that's expected,
That's right.
that should be given.
That's right.
So,
And guess what?
the person is not enforced.
At some point in time, we will talk about why that is not. Because what you just talked about is the importance of organizational environment and culture. And if the culture is slack, I can get away with anything, none of what you just mentioned will happen. And the sad thing about it is, in many organizations, I don't know what role or what function HR fills, because they're too timid, too scared to do anything. Because you can't do, I would say, if you want to be a real good, effective HR person, you can't worry about your job. Two things you can't do. You can't worry about your job and you can't think that you run things. They're not HR person. I don't care what level of the organization. You don't run things. Okay? Hello. Oh, that's all right. Okay? So you can't, and most HR people I talk to, they really think, you know, they think they could do certain things they can't do. And the things that they ought to do, they don't do. And so this is the framework we are going to be working in. So this is Margaret.
No, this is Popol.
Popo. Popo growing up in school, one of my best friends was a lady, thank you, named Elsie Popo. You know Elsie Popo?
That's my aunt.
Is that right?
I mean, I married them, but that's my aunt.
Are you telling you met, okay, Agatha Rose?
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I'll let her know.
He went on the hill.
I don't know.
So I was just talking just generally about HR. But one of the things that I need you to do as ready quickly as you can, the introductory exercise on page 4. If you would just do that for me, please, and then we can begin to talk about that and get back on track. So Nika, you finished, right?
Not as yet.
Not as yet. Come on, come on. I'll tell you, these are very exciting times for HR. Because I don't know if y'all noticed, but everything has changed. COVID changed everything, and in a scary way. Mhm.
That's better.
It's going in and out.
Yeah, they're supposed to be new, you know.
Mm.
I don't know what's going on. I was just studying.
Every person should have a bag of pens and pencils.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And a notepad, always,
Oh,
always. Now, what's especially important is your expectations of this course. That's important because based on your expectations, you're going to be able to guide me with your questioning. Anything you want to know about that's currently happening that you don't think you're getting voluntarily from me, that's what questioning is for. In my classes, I always tell people that nobody knows everything. And most of us don't know most things. And that includes me. And I'm serious about that. And in that way, my mind is always open to learn and absorb. There is always something that I can get. And nothing you say is in black, white, right or wrong. It's how well you have reasoned it out. And as we go along, you're going to see that in everything we do. Because like I said to you, there are some things that are sort of standard, but when you put them in different organizations, it comes out differently. Okay? So are we ready to start? Somebody volunteer? Okay, this is
my plans. My technical job description responsibility include involving reference and income and outgoing items and providing assistance with staff and internal customers. Safe to say I am in human resources management, so this course is a plus for me to know more knowledge. My expectation of this course is to understand and learn the functions and rules and practices of human resource management and to enforce them in my daily job. How will I use this knowledge and insights to advance my future career goals? In my day-to-day daily job description and activities and human resources management.
excellent.
Okay. The assistant Jonathan and Carlos. I put up a lot of functions and assist the agent manager where necessary. I keep files. And they vacation, sick leave, whatnot. My expectation of this cause is to empower myself with formal knowledge to improve my performance at work. How would I use this knowledge and insight gained? I hope this will assist with me, building and motivating myself, helping to identify the strengths and weaknesses, and to assist in our company retaining valuable employees.
Absolutely excellent, and I'm really glad you decided to do it, because one of the things I always say to Ms. Dean is, when you are marketing the course, don't only market to people interested in HR. Every manager, every supervisor must know all the fundamentals of HR, especially as you're the ones that are the first line supervisory structure for employees, those direct reports. So every manager should know what HR is about and how it works. Okay?
Good afternoon. My name is Pauline Smith, and I work in the Human Resources Department as a clerk one. I work closely in the area of recruitment. Some of my basic day-to-day duties, I manage the HR help queue. So all requests that come into HR, I have to read it. Some functions I do, some tasks I do myself, and some, if it's a payroll issue, if it's time and attendance, it's forwarded on to the necessary areas of HR. How I will use knowledge and insights gained to advance my future career goals.
Wake up!
To develop myself and add in a positive way to my place of employment. In a positive way.
Yeah,
Yes.
and y'all could use it.
Yes.
Okay, y'all could use it because
So insurance.
you're in a that's considered a large environment.
It is.
You're in a big environment, and what you do anyway. Like certain things I can't say, but you know what I mean, right? And sometimes, like when people don't know, if you have never had any like formal exposure and really understand how it's supposed to go, then you're going to be even more challenged. And your type of organization, why can't wait till we start talking about that? Could frustrate you. So now after you finish this class, don't let them frustrate you. Because I always, I say that your director of HR, I believe that's the title, but we are colleagues, Cipriana, Bethel. We are colleagues, we work in this field, we go way back. The one thing I don't understand with my colleagues is I would rather not have my job, but lead the right way, okay? And sometimes, especially in environments like those, you find people who, it's politically motivated. Come on. And so sometimes you have to be bold and stand up. Because if you are, and that's HR's biggest, right, like they are not positive influencers. You can't make them, but you can influence them. How do I know that? I know that because I created and ran a national training agency. The right way. All right, and I just said, can't be done like that. No, that. But I was willing to say bye-bye if I had to, because I had to do that before. Because there's some things I know not right and I am not doing. So HR, your word to start with is integrity. Write that down in your book, Zulika. Integrity. You have to have that to do a good HR job, and you'll be surprised at how other things would fall into place for you. But I admire you for being here. Actually, I have a sister that works at the National Insurance Board, and I try to tell her, you know, just go, not necessarily for national insurance, but do the course, do some courses. You know, like the more knowledge you have, the more you know, the better for you.
Yeah.
And especially in this environment where things are getting a little tough. Okay? Was it yesterday we just heard Atlantis 700? Just yesterday? And this ain't no plaything.
No. At 700 households.
Exactly. And so as much as you can get and store into you, I believe the more valuable you become to an organization. I believe that. Okay? I have to say that I'm not naive enough not to know, you know, sometimes who you know come into that. But then after who you know, it should be what you know. Okay? Because that should be the thing that holds you down. Okay, so what you have done?
My current role in my organization, I am actually the HR manager for the Airport Authority.
Okay.
I have 28 airports under me, 16 of which have employees. And we would have just taken over Freeport, which makes it now 17. Yeah, stressful. That's my current role.
Put that word out of your
Vocabulary.
yeah.
Let me write that.
Take that out. Take that out. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
No, remember now, whatever you feed into your mind, okay? So instead of stressful, I want your word to be challenging.
Okay.
This is challenging. And then you're going to figure out how to, you know? But when you say, oh, it's stressful, you go that way. Yeah. So that's not for you.
Okay.
So after the day, I bet you'll get a ride down here to the class next week, right?
Yes.
I'm not talking about you till you come into the class. It's much better inside.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I agree.
Mhm.
My expectations of the schools. To know the do's and the don'ts of the HR department. Because where I'm at, it's almost like every department works in silos. So I want to change that structure, that culture.
Okay. Lord have mercy. We don't know how you're gonna do that, but we're gonna together. When we pull all of our ideas, you're going to leave from here with some pretty good ideas. Mhm.
Well, I guess the third one, somewhat the same. How will I use knowledge and insights gained to advance my future career goals? Again, I want to apply that this information to try and gear the organization in the way that I know it can go. You know? Yeah.
You hold on to that. I know it can go. I know it can go the way it's supposed to go. Salika, what you wrote down and think for us? Your current,
What-
your expectations of this course, and how you're going to use your knowledge and insights. Come on.
Well, currently, I'm not a part of any organization at this time.
All right.
But my expectations of the course is basically to get an understanding of HR. I always found it to be very interesting. It's something that I always wanted to study, actually. I studied business management at the University of the Bahamas, and I thought that business management and HR have like a symbiotic relationship. And so basically just like an understanding of working with people, what exactly HR is all about, an opportunity to progress in the workplace, to basically increase my performance whenever I get back in an organization, you know, how to increase my performance. Just an overall idea of exactly what HR is all about.
Okay, that's fair. Now, the whole idea during your introductory exercise is so that remember now, we only have 5 evenings, and one of those you're gonna be doing little. Let's go there. Okay, but remember, if you hear anything that you need an explanation for, that you need, more feedback on, that's the reason for writing these things. When you leave from here, you should have gotten at least
Right.
all some of what you want to get out of this. So I want you to think about a concept I'm going to say. I'm going to say that HR is a discipline or a concept where one size does not fit all. So I am going to refer to HR as clothes. Now you all, somebody complete that analogy for me. Why would I refer to HR as clothes? Say a clothes, yeah.
Just like you say, one size don't fit all. I might be in a 12, you might be in a 3. So it might be where what I might apply to my 12 probably can't apply to it.
Now say it in organizational terms. That's what I want you to do. Say it in organization. We were talking about it. We were talking about it just now. Just say that. Say
The culture. You mean? The culture and environment are different based on the organization.
You can say that, but I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yeah.
I just want you to, when you hear, well, HR is a concept like clothes. And she said it right. I mean, but I want you to, we're talking organizational work here. So to those kinds of.
Okay, the policies that I use to run my organization wouldn't necessarily fit in all and
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Now, this is where I need your head to go, okay?
Yes.
Your head gotta go. Everything we say and we think and we do, I want you thinking about an organization, okay? And so that means, Alika, you may not be working for one at this time, but in your mind, put the image of the kind of organization you want to work for. So I'm going to ask you all then to do that second little exercise on page 4, your bird's eye view of my organization's external and internal environment. And you're going to begin to get the idea of why you need the clothes that will fit. your organization's body.
Mm.
All right?
Mhm.
Because I am convinced, I've been in this business for many, many, many years. I'll probably do a bio for you all, just so y'all could see that I do have a very expansive background in HR in different places. I've done many things. I'll bring it for you next week so you can read it, and you don't have to. I don't have to waste our time telling you all those sorts of things. But your environment and culture will make all of the difference to how you approach HR and the success you have in HR management. Because the environment and the culture is going to be a guidepost for you to know what you, to know the framework you have to work in. Okay? And everything there is a framework. So take a look at that and let's describe your external and internal environment. And I kind of lay it out for you. What's the purpose of your organization? The services and products your organization produces, your customers and clients, your competitors, that's your external and internal, your employees and associates, your core values, and your perception of profit, how you see profit. Because right in here, there are a couple of different views just on that. Because you have the private enterprise that's profit driven and profit motivated. You have NIB, them who spend a lot of money. And,
be there.
you don't need to rag you,
I leave it right there.
right? And so that's a different environment. And then we have the airport authority. That's another different environment, because sometimes when I go, you all deal with the parking and stuff like that, right?
No, that's not. That's not.
Oh, Jesus.
Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah,
That's
man, because you're going to help us to understand where you fit in. But right away, that's 3 different frameworks. So they don't run the same. So Zalika, you can just choose an organization, maybe one that you know, and answer those and describe those things.
Okay.
Now we start off with this because this is the key to HR management. The more you understand your organization, how it is set up, what its purpose is to do, the more you understand those types of things, then because it's the understanding of those things that lead you or that guide you into policy making. You see, you can make a policy. NIB, could we use you? Let me use you as an example. No, it's serious, right? How can you make an effective policy on hiring, for example, when, just to make you comfortable, I was a politician, okay? I was a politician for 5 years, and people South Beach, I know how this thing goes,
Right.
all right? So I'm saying to you, how can you make an effective policy that HR can follow? Because there ought to be one that you should follow generically, all of the time. Just let's say if you need a clerk too, the same policy you use, the same policy and procedure you use for the recruitment, the interviewing, the whatever, you should be able to use that for everybody. But then if somebody is going to come and say, hire them 12, what are you going to do? You know, not that there's some things you can do. You can't say no, okay? But there are little mitigating influences that you can possibly pass on as a suggestion or something like that, right? But now, let's face it. Okay, who gonna listen to you? Do y'all understand what I'm saying? And so you cannot get stressed out because there's nothing you could do about that. Many ministers can bring you your list and say, take on 50. That's exactly. Now, how we get on that already? But there will be some things you can do to mitigate it, but do you have the guts to do it?
That's the question.
And that's what I say about HR people. Because all they want to know is, I ain't doing nothing, they can lose my job. Because I own my job and I get my thing at the end of the month, I good. So nothing ever changes. You see? But this is exciting. HR is exciting, but not for a reason people think. Because, for example, HR people like to talk about my employees, my staff. You ain't got no staff, sweet girl. The only staff you have is the couple you may have working in the office with you.
Yes.
The rest of them ain't yours. Okay? And that causes a big, huge problem with management communication. Because now you own the people direct reports. You understand? Really nobody like that. Okay? And then people begin to have dual loyalties. And the manager who has to supervise them now, catching the problem. Because HR ought not say anything about the manager's staff without the manager. So whatever you're gonna do, you first have that talk with the manager. And the manager should first have to talk with you. Because yeah, but how else is this going to work? How else is this going to work? That's the only way it'll work. And I know that. I know that because I have been an HR director for about 13 years of my life before the politics and all of that. Okay? I know them talk, and this, it can be done, but you gotta know your place. And then people begin to trust you. Write down that word HR people. Trust, that's your second word. You got 3 now. Okay? Integrity, challenge, and trust. They gotta be able to, your organization has to be able to trust you. So guess what? HR people, you need that gift from the Lord called humility. This ain't about you. None of this is about you. So this is about making your organization better. This is about you using your influence, your wonderful influence to positively impact someone else. So HR people have to be great communicators and have alligator skin. I'm serious. With everything that goes good, the credit will go to someone else. And everything that goes wrong, HR. So understand your environment. Okay? Know the purpose of your organization. And I'm gonna ask you, it's like I said, Dolphin used to be one of my favorite clients. So I'll ask you to share with us what you have put down. What's the purpose of your organization?
To attract and inspire guests to, when they visit, have an interactive and good experience once they visit. That's their main objective, to ensure that the guests are entertained, ensure they come back. Harness the stingrays, the sharks, and the dolphins. They have a sea lion experience. And our customers and clientele will be, most of our customers came from the cruise ships. Well, that's not happening now. So maybe we've been attracting quite a bit of locals, because I guess with the shutdown, everybody's looking for something to do. So
yes.
they've been attracting a lot of locals. Now, our competitors, there's a ship called Sandy, a cruise line called Sandy Toes, and another one, Aqua Sports, I think. There are competitors and competitors the same place, and they offer some pretty cheaper packages because of they think that they're getting more customers. We have, I think their prices are better. And they have different experiences, and a lot of the tourists and the locals are more attractive too.
I'm glad to hear you say that, because, and that's one of the reasons we put competitors there, because you're in the business of making money.
Right.
So competitor looks like making some money, somebody in that absolutely. A different type of employee than she would need or she would need. Because of the nature of what you do. The skill set, in terms of both competencies and the soft skills that we call attributes. Because, and you could tell that just from the way your employees dress. They dress very casually to accommodate. I can't imagine her over there in this outfit and some tall black shoes, high heel shoes like this, coming off the boat. You understand what I'm saying? So when you knew, and what knowing this helps you to do is when you're doing your recruitment and selection, now you're looking for the Dolphin Encounters prototype. Okay? You're looking for people who love outdoors. You're looking for people who like people. You're looking for people who can smile easily. You're looking for people who have no problem being strange. They like to dress up. You know, like to dress up so you always want to make right down and you know what I mean? And then dress and then high heel shoes and you know. I'm serious. When you are hiring, okay, when you are hiring, you use this. You use your environment and your culture. That's what I used to do. As human resource director for Solomons, you know, Solomons, the Solomons, the several Solomons mines and little Switzerlands and up there. I was there for 5.5 years, and I knew a Solomons employee when I interviewed them. I said, "This is a Solomons person." We were bad out there. I may still tell you. I mean, bad out there means very good out there. Okay, but and that's where you have to get. You have to know your prototype.
When you say you knew, that's so. Did you pull that from the resume or the way they presented in an interview?
It would have come from all of those sources. But we were looking for a certain personality. See, you had to sell a $5 or $10 or $15,000 Rolex watch, or you had to sell a $35,000 diamond.
So you got to get some kind of
Cherry, but polished,
right?
Okay, easy to smile. You don't gotta talk that much, you know. Okay, you just gotta know the right things to say. You know, a gentleman came up and you know he wants a fancy this. You know, it's either for his wife, his girlfriend, or you understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? So I mean, so you have to you have to kind of know. Hello, good afternoon. Yes. Yeah. So you and that's what you were looking for. Why would you, like for example, take in your business? Why would you want to hire a sour person?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
Why?
Because that's not your environment. That's not your culture. You need people who like people and don't depend on interviewing for anything because people tell you exactly what you want to hear and then get that job.
Like some persons when you're in an interview, they get put on an app.
Of course.
Yes. That's
right.
right.
And they get the job to say, I can't wait till my probation over there.
Yes. And guess what? They do it to everybody. Like even seasoned people, because I used to say that I hire you because they wait until the last day of the probation. Okay? And I said, did I hire you? Oh, yes, you did. Okay? And then HR and manager now have to work together to mitigate that circumstance. Okay? Which we'll talk about later. So it's lovely to see you. And you're here, so don't worry about the tardiness. Probably wasn't even your fault. So who is this now? Okay, what we've just been doing, believe it or not, we're just on page 4. And so you can just quickly fill in those things, especially the top part. because I want you as we go along to check, to make sure that you're getting what you expect out of the class. That's the biggest thing. So when you go back, you really go back with something of value. So based on your external environment, you will fill in, let me use this term, your internal environment. Because you're going to get the kind of employees and associates that suited to that external environment. And then based on your external environment, you also produce your core values. And every organization, company, business should have some core values. This is what we live by. This is the standards we set, you know, and they could be simple ones like we respect each other, or how we talk to each other, whatever you want them to be. But those will be the things that everybody lives by. And you kind of need that. Otherwise, you have people doing their own thing. Like, I'll give you an example. Suppose you say, everybody must be courteous and pleasant to each other. So if somebody comes in and they say, you have something to go back to. That's a written thing, that's a core value.
And that should be in your handbook, right?
It should be in your handbook.
Okay.
There's a whole page for core values.
Exactly.
You know, your core values have to be there, because those are the things that you hold them accountable with.
Right.
Because see, when they come and say, well, that's just my personality.
Yeah.
I see, you know, I just, man, this is how God made me, and this and that. God may make you like that, that's your problem. But you can't bring that in here, because in here, we work by these set of core things. And that's how HR doesn't get involved in people's personality and attitude. Okay? That's up to them. But what you have down there, and policies, procedures, core values, that's what you use. That's your Bible. And you use that to govern that. And the reason you do is because the other things are so fickle. Because you, being the HR manager, may come to work one morning in a foul mood. Then you in your foul mood. So you come. So I say, and then you have a problem with me.
Yeah.
Okay? So it don't quite work like that. You have to, the more you have policies, procedures, and these things written, the easier your life is. Okay? And so when you make a summary of your organization's environment, you're looking at things like, well, I jotted down some for you, but you're looking at things like whether it's a casual environment like yours, whether it's a formal environment like well, definitely. Definitely formal environment. You understand? That ain't no pleasure. So everything then in that environment has to line up to that formality, to that. That's what that has to be. Over at Dolphin, it's not like that. We kissing the dolphin. You know? We have on our little shorts, you know what I mean? We going along. Different. Okay? Well, I haven't made up my mind yet. But we are supposed to be formal And one of y'all used the word professional. All organizations should be professional, no matter what type of environment. Now, what your environment is going to do, Penny, if you have a good one, you're going to find people want to go there to work. They are motivated. You know, you get teamwork. People are highly producing, all of that. Okay, they have good working conditions. That's the ideal. But then you have some environments that are toxic. You know, the turnover is really high. People don't want to work there, or they tell you right in your face, I only come for my paycheck. And most of the time, people don't do anything about it. But, you know, in my organization, if you ever tell me you just come for a paycheck, then I'm afraid you're going to have to go somewhere else. But also, HR, one of the most valuable things you can bring to an organization is to provide feedback for that management structure, okay? If you see some employees, because HR job is not to sit in an office. That's not your job. So if they want you to sit in an office, you tell them, hire me, a clerk, one assistant, or somebody to do all those clerical things. I'm gonna sit there, somebody have, you know, who going on vacation, and that's not your job. That's not HR's job. That's the HR clerk in the office job. Okay? No, because your job, as we'll talk about it later, the HR job is more the job of an influencer. You are the eyes for that organization, okay? You're supposed to be able to know what's happening in that organization and see what's happening. And how are you going to know if you spend 6 hours in an office and maybe there's somebody come and say, I need a job letter.
And I was about to say, though, in most HR, in most companies, HR department is understaffed. When you have like 3 and 4 persons in HR to deal with 100 plus 200 employees, it's difficult to be out in the fields. You know what I mean? Because there's so much different things going on.
I cannot accept that premise.
It is, but that is.
No, let me tell you why I can't accept that premise. I cannot accept that premise because, number one, I've worked in the HR capacity in organizations with over 400 people. Solomon's had, I think, 475 down in the casino in Freeport. Down there, they had 540. Okay? And I had in my office, there was me, I had a personnel assistant. Then I had a secretary and a clerk for over 500 people. Okay? And so
I worked at Baker's Bay, right? I was like over 500 people, again, 4 or 5 of us, a little bit around there. And we just had so much paper pushing on us, so much different employee relations and stuff going on, that it was difficult to get out there. Outside of them, we doing surveys and whatnot, it was kind of difficult to get out to, you know?
listen,
A
a lot of times people, listen, no, I'm gonna tell you, because like a lot of times people, you have to compartmentalize certain things. You have to establish policies for certain things, okay? I recruited dealers. So I went to my house, that don't cause me no problems. I did it say Zoom, and I even asked her to do. She did it for me. Oh, see, that is why. And I said earlier, you don't have to know everything.
Yes.
You just have to have people around you.
Yes.
Okay? So Lika, you back?
Yes, I'm here.
We want to see your face. Come on, man. There you go.
I can't see y'all.
Can I see ya?
No.
Come let us see. Child, I don't even want this lesson.
Okay, now I can see.
Oh, okay. All right. And the one thing you don't be here, never be shy to don't know something. If you don't know, you don't know. Exactly. Like I tell people all the time, I'm as sharp as a whip. But then it comes to anything. Y'all know how long it took me? It took me about a year to learn my phone.
Sorry, Mom.
You look at me talk about what? You know the listen, you know the things I know that you don't know. No, don't take it back. I am simply trying to tell you. Okay? Now, I'll hire up somebody like her in a second. Because she, not only she techie, y'all ain't noticed something else. She said, so guess what? If I don't see Michael, you know, I gotta see him. Because I gotta know. You all understand?
Yes.
And this is what a work environment is supposed to be.
Yes.
You are supposed to know the people around you. Okay? And HR is responsible for that. Because when you are recruiting or people are sending you, y'all go through them files. You gotta go through them files. You gotta go through them files and know everything you file. Oh, I might know it. I know everything, but everything. Okay? I'm serious. I'm telling you all that well, I guess I'm losing a lot of it now. We do as we get older. But in my jobs, I could have, when those ladies and stuff called me from the stores, my office was up on the East-West Highway. And I pick up that phone and they say, "Morning, Miss Marcel." I could say, "Hi, Judy." You hear what I tell you? When I walk downstairs, I'm downtown in those stores, I know all of it. Morning.
That's because you recruited and you met them in interviews, right?
Hmm?
That's because you met them during the interview.
I met them, yes, I met them during the interview. But not only that, I didn't stay at my desk.
No.
I went downtown to all those stores twice a week, okay? And everything got done. But I wanted them to see me, I wanted them to know that I cared, okay? I wanted my boss to do all the things he needed to do in those stores. And I wasn't shy to tell him, "You prejudiced." Because at first, when I first went to work for the company, and he went down to the stores and stuff, he only used to talk to people who look like, "So Lika, let me see you." Yeah, he used to talk to them. Talk to you. No. But he was a sweetie, you know. But he did, and I just told him one day. I said, "You're so prejudiced." He said, "Miss Marcel, do you think I'm prejudiced?" I said, "Yes, sir. This is why I think that." And it changed.
Right.
It changed. He said, "Well, okay, you and me will walk down there, and I'm walking away." Oh Lord, I said, "Lord, what I get myself into?" He said, "But we will go down." And you know, that man went down to all the stores. He saw the people with different eyes. These were people who made millions and millions and millions of dollars for them. And in every one of those stores, he created some place for them to, to have a sandwich or they could go get their lunch or their food and do all those sorts of things. But the HR person has to have an eye to see these things and see where improvements needed. And the tone, the way you talk is very important. Don't go to nobody bigoted. Bigoted people don't get nowhere in life. Everybody hates you.
Yeah.
Okay? But when you go, you use phrases like, have you ever considered this? Or have you thought about that? Or have you noticed that? Did you see that? Do you think if maybe we do this a little differently, it'll change something? Let people believe. You're doing all the doing, but let them believe they're doing. Okay, let them believe they have the final say. But exactly. But to do that, you, like I said, you have to die. Paul and them say in Romans, die to yourself. You have to die to yourself. But I mean, it's possible. And guess what? You get to the place where they begin that word that I gave you, they begin to trust you. Okay? My boss used to tell me, if you say it, it's dead serious. If you say it, it's not that you say it. And I mean, but that's because honestly, my concern was for the employees and the organization, the employees and the organization. Because without the organization, you have no employees, right? And without the employees, you have no organization, right? And I often say that what you develop as an HR person, develop more of the intangible skills, okay? And you see that move you make? Not a lot of people have that. It's a very important gift. Hold on to that, okay? And don't mind what you don't see right away, because most people, they get clouded and dizzy, man. Like they want it now. You may not get it now, okay? But 5 years from now, 6 years from now, you may be exactly where you want to be. And I always say, if you are not where you think you want to be, you're not supposed to be there. Now you gotta trust. That's the thing that run me hot with Bahamians. Okay? What God has for me, it is for me. And then, when you get up and you walk, suddenly everybody hates you. Everybody hate me. Everybody against me. No. Maybe that is not for you. But those two things go together. The environment shapes the culture. Always remember that. The environment shapes the culture. Now, in some cultures, well, the positive cultures are those where you have that are people oriented, that they are detail oriented, they're team oriented, they are innovative, they are aggressive, they are outcome oriented, and they're stable. Those are the good parts of the culture. The bad parts of a culture is the exact opposite to those things. You see, where everybody rowdy, nobody like to work there, and the employees they aren't reliable. Because I see a whole lot of employees, they be all about on the road. Like, they be driving the company's trucks and stuff like that. And they don't be doing work. Okay? They don't know what they're doing, they do the same things with the cars. They don't be doing work, they be doing their own thing. And honestly, I know that. So that's a background to HR and what the framework that I would ask you to think about HR in a particular framework, the framework of your environment, the framework of your culture. Because that's how you're going to make, or that's how you're going to have the greatest influence if you understand that. Because you have to understand the limits that your environment and your culture create for you. Now, before I drive myself crazy, I would like to know what the uniform is, because I'm here thinking superintendent, inspector.
I know, Mr. Superintendent.
Oh, I got it right.
Yes, you did.
I got it right.
That's what we did.
All right. And I tell you, isn't that nice to see? You never know. So that's the framework I want you to adopt over the next couple of weeks. Now, HR wasn't always HR, the way we know it, y'all know that. So, anybody know a little history of how HR got to where it is today? Why? Okay, well, just let's look at it simply. We can think about our great-grandparents or whoever, but when work started, remember, I guess, with Adam and Eve, they was just trying to grow some things to eat. And that happened right down in the early centuries, right down. Remember, families worked on the family farm, and they were only, they were doing subsistence farming, just getting enough to eat and all that sort of thing. And then after that era of farming came the Industrial Revolution. I know you've heard about the Industrial Revolution. That's when they start to build things like cars and all of that. And during that time, the of labor, including little children. You ever know Paul Oliver Twist? Oliver Twist was a charity boy. Well, he was doing the Industrial Revolution. And actually, I got this down because I thought it was interesting, was that the term was used in between 1910 and 1930 to promote the idea that human beings were objects of value and worth and should be treated with dignity. Because before they didn't used to do that. You know, people used to work long hours in the mines and all of that. And so we thank God for this, for the economist, his name is E. Wright Bakke, B-A-K-K-E, who in 1958 authored a report, and he used the term human resources. Now, I don't know if you will think back not too far back. I would say in the 70s and 80s, you didn't so much hear the term human resources. You heard personnel.
Yeah.
Everything was personnel management. Now, with personnel management, that's where the more administrative side of personnel management, I guess, became the thing. That is benefits, calculating compensation and benefits, and things like vacations and sick days and all those sorts of things. And that's what people mostly used to do. So when you had a personnel manager, that personnel manager was actually sitting down in the office doing all of those clerical things. And then it began to shift. And you all know Americans, they come up with names for everything. Every other day they come up with a name for something. So then it began to shift to human resources management. And it took on a broader meaning because now it was not only administrative, but it also became innovative policy making, because before the boss, the manager, whoever that was, did all the policies and everything, and all the personnel person did was when they send them the policies, they say, put that in effect, do that, do that. But now, human resource became a part of creating all of that. So that from the 80s, from the late 70s and early 80s, the function began to change to human resource management. So how would you define, I'm on page 5, how would you define HR management? Don't look at the definition there, just from where you sit, and from what you believe you know of human resource management, how would you define it? Salika, that's you, because I'm going to ask you for your input. How do you define human resource management from a layperson's viewpoint, from where you sit? How would you define it?
Have the answer now?
Well, you have 1 minute.
Okay.
Write it down. Write down just what you think. Ready?
Mm. Okay. Well, I guess from what I guess I gathered over the years is HR management is, I guess, the process of hiring and the process of hiring persons, employees, personal development, providing training. Well, yeah, that's my overview of exactly what HR management is all about, I guess. From what I
Not bad. Not bad for a 1 minute thought. That's a part of it.
that's a part of it.
Mhm.
Okay. The hiring and firing process. I guess the labor laws, knowing the labor laws of a particular country, the Employment Act, and all of those things tie into a nutshell.
That's absolutely right.
Okay.
Anybody else want to share what they have? That's
That's
pretty
just
good.
it.
But the one that always getting, why HR people so like to concentrate on the hiring and firing? You haven't figured out yet, like very few HR people hire and fire. Okay?
Really?
No, oh, that's what you thought you was gonna do, right? I'm not really. So Lisa, no. HR people don't hire and fire. No, HR makes recommendations as to who to hire, and then so many people gonna take your recommendation. And the HR may be asked to write a termination letter. But you don't fire. You can't go to an employee and fire them.
No, we're doing, you know.
No, But now,
I was going to ask, you're saying you don't fire, so who? I mean, well, I've seen HR persons fire people. I mean,
they would not, they might have called the person in and told them they are fired, or they might have signed a letter of termination.
okay,
But
so you're
that
saying
can't be
that,
something else.
okay, so you're saying that the approval is much higher, but I mean, to go ahead and fire.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. They would have been directed to write that letter.
okay,
And
okay.
that's why I'm saying anything that's good, they take the credit for it. But anything as bad as firing, HR must write the letter. So you look at me and HR as the bad person, you see?
Oh, okay, so I've been, okay.
And HR, she's a natural law. You know? Yeah, that's what they say.
That means doing this thing. That means I need to go and tell my GM to set me up. Because he said to me point blank, you're HR. You hire, you fire. Nothing happens without your say.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, hire, fire. That's what I thought.
Nah, yeah. But all HR people think that that's why they won't get an HR. And when they get an HR, they find out there's nothing like that. But he said that to your GM said that to you. Is that in writing to you? No, ma'am.
I have to look back. I don't-
No.
I
You,
don't
well,
recall.
because
I don't think
if
so.
they mean it, put it in writing that you can hire or fire.
I mean, okay, when we do hire,
Mhm,
we have the exercise of giving exams.
mhm,
If that person is successful in passing that exam,
mhm.
they then get to the interview phase.
Okay.
We interview, and if we feel as if they are an airport authority prototype,
New words.
Mhm.
Class one.
we then hire them, we put them through the training. So we do hire once we go through the process. As for the firing part of it, I could agree with it in that depending on which department that particular employee falls into, if they did something, an investigation is done, then the recommendation would come from their departmental head. And then, but when it reaches to my desk, before we do anything, I have to make sure all the I's are dotted, T's are crossed,
Mhm.
make sure that they are stating the correct article
Mhm.
in the industrial agreement
Mhm.
or the employment act
Mhm.
before we execute
Mhm,
that termination.
mhm.
But my GM rake me over the coals on Monday. You're responsible. Boy, you're fixing.
But not only that, what sort of sense does that make? Think now. What's your hiring process? And I ask that because with most HR departments, the hiring process is HR normally recruits and when HR recruits, HR, just let's say, claims, that's the only one I know. No, pension, I know that too. Let's say claims need a claims person, okay? How can HR, or why would HR? I could see HR interviewing people for that. The next step after the interviewing is HR should create a short list. Say if you need one person, 2 or 3 people. Wouldn't the claims manager have to have the say with which of those he or she thinks is best suited to the claims department?
Yeah, that's right.
You know, HR in the world
Yeah.
should do that.
No, that, yeah.
Well, I
That's fine.
guess, again, it depends on the company,
Mhm.
because with the airport authority, when we hire bulk mass,
Okay.
okay? So like take for instance, at Nassau, we might have an exercise where we need 100 people.
Okay.
And they would be divided between security, screening, the various different departments.
Okay.
So we would have an exercise, different days, exams are given. And again, like I say, only those persons who pass that grading mark would then, I guess they would be the shortlisted ones.
Okay. But then, okay, of the shortlisted ones, because right up to that point, I think that's your job.
But what happens at the shortlisted
Yeah.
one,
But
and
what
they come in
happened
for the
after that?
interview,
Mhm.
HR would sit in with that department
Exactly.
head or whatever, have you in their team, and then we go
Exactly.
through that.
That's
process.
how
So
it
yeah,
should
they
work.
are, so yeah.
That's how it should
Yeah.
work. But just to say, like, HR just do the hiring, you know, just go through the interviews, give them the test, and then say, okay, you, and you hire without any input from the
Yeah.
person that they have to
Yeah.
work with is
Yeah.
absolutely nonsensical.
Yes.
Yeah, so that, and then, so it should work the same way for the firing. You can't fire somebody who don't work with you unless, you know, there's that whole lot of labor things she talked about, you know, the grievance procedures, everything like that. And that's HR job to make sure that these things are done properly, because mostly managers, they freak out.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
fire like.
You understand?
And then HR
And-
gotta answer.
What do they do? You gotta find them.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's the one thing that HR can make a big difference and do. And that is, at some point in time, you have to get your managers in. Now, in the first place, they think ain't nothing you could tell them. And they think they know everything, and they don't know nothing.
Exactly.
Okay? They know nothing. And you have to get them to understand. So one of the things that I used to, because even way back then, we had the same problem. Like I would never have like a training session for them. But you know, we love to eat, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you could always do a little continental breakfast for them. You understand? And then HR goes over some important policies and procedures and whatever that they are missing. Because especially with an industrial agreement, if you have an industrial agreement, you should meet with all of your managers and at least point out to them the things that they must do in connection with this industrial agreement. And like I said, they might, feel mad if you tell them come sit in a classroom session like this. But maybe if you put them in your boardroom and, like I said, give them all some grapes and a hard Danish, you know what I mean?
Well, let me
And let them
tell-
feel,
Yeah, let me tell you, I did that because we were having so many issues from one particular department because the head of that department came from the police force. Okay?
You better live, see your woman.
You know that about, you know that about it.
Female?
Yeah.
I said, leave senior woman alone.
Okay. So what happened is she brought that same mentality. Yeah. She brought that mentality into the workplace. And listen, 3/4 of my problems come from that department. And so I had a meeting with all of the head of the department because I didn't want to single her out. And I said to them, listen, while you might only have those employees directly under you, when stuff happens, it comes to me. So I have to make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do. And then what happens is when they do these things and make these decisions, and the person goes to labor or elsewhere, they know where to be found. They know where to be found.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they have a dentist appointment. They have everything to do.
That's right,
Yeah.
and they leave you to get help.
And so when I realized, I said, hold on. No, this isn't gonna work. But you try guide them and say, listen, we have a grievance procedure. We have this industrial agreement in place that both sides agree to. This is how we're gonna operate. You have to follow it. Oh, you can't tell what to do, can't tell what. And I'm like, you're not dealing with criminals. So that was my challenge.
And guess what, you gotta go back at them again.
Yeah.
And like I say, sometimes environment is important. So I know managers, I've been working with them for many years and I know how they go, okay? They don't go. They just, honestly, I've seriously said to employers, how does your organization function? Because these don't function,
No.
okay? And it's almost like, and so they create the kind of culture
Yes,
that you have.
yes.
And
I have employees who would say to me, I'm intentionally not coming to work because I don't want to be around that. I have employees who would try and do things the right way by asking for time off. They would try to put in their vacation form, whatever have you. But it's denied because why?
Personal, yeah.
And so you know what they
they
do?
need help.
They send in medical. And then you want to get down on those same employees for sending in the medical. But you didn't grant them, you know?
And how do you deal with that though? When you have a
Exactly.
manager that's so not fair, that's personal.
Right.
How do you deal with those man, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I can feel that if you don't get buy-in from the top, what do you call them, the managing director?
The general manager.
The general manager.
Mhm.
You try to build a relationship with that general manager, a working relationship where you can pass these things, because the only way you can get through to them is by having his support. Now, remember I said you need alligator skin,
Mhm.
because here's another thing. You have to be like a horse with blinders on,
Mhm.
because from another angle, you're gonna get.
Mhm,
You understand?
mhm,
Are
mhm.
you big enough to take the sip?
That's all you've been in our office.
I know how people go.
It's a go,
I remember.
it's a goes on the truth.
Yeah, I remember I've been there, y'all, many years, okay? And so I'm saying, you work on that relationship and get to the place where you are trusted. And you know what? I will say this to you all. You do what is right. You like Zuleika? You
I'm
always
listening.
do the right thing. It does not matter how people react, but you know that you're right. HR, have your diary with you. Always be writing down, you write everything. Everything you see, you write it down. Everything, that's going to be a great big help to you. But those sorts of like positions like you have are they're challenging and they require great manipulation. Now that's a word, when people hear manipulation, they think that's a bad word. Manipulation is not necessarily a bad word. Okay? You need to know how to manipulate situations and circumstances to get and strategize. That's a word. Because remember now, you are not, nothing about this is personal. As far as I'm concerned, my career, my work, my life has never been personal. It has always been to make sure that I help my organization and its employees as best I can. Okay? And so I was willing to step out and sacrifice what I believe in for that. Because, you know, I think, hey, man, you want to fire me, terminate my contract, do what you want to do because you can do it anyhow. Okay? But I honestly believe I have somebody bigger in my life who looked out for me. So when terminated on that end, next thing I know, I was up there, terminated up there, I'm there. You understand? So, but you have to be a certain peculiar person to believe that. And I truly believe, and nobody can get at me. I truly believe what happens in my life was ordained to happen.
Yeah.
Okay? And because of that, and that's how you have to be. But I mean, that's a challenge I would love.
No, but you actually hit the nail on the head in terms of my GM, because my former GM, she had carte blanche. She did, however, it was not questioned, nothing. We now have a new GM that is totally different. Totally different. He held a meeting and he just basically said to everybody, this is what's gonna happen moving forward. Every HR this, HR that, he put his foot down with it. So some
Yeah, but
things are
he isn't
happening.
very smart.
No,
Do you understand what I'm saying? Because everything can't be HR this and HR
no,
that.
it wasn't like
Because-
that. It was in terms of like what we're talking about.
Okay,
now.
because let me tell you what he would, and you be careful of this. Let me tell you what you do not want to do. Remember, you're a team.
Yeah.
So you're looking for fusion, to bond. You're looking to bond as a team. You can be the biggest boss without being a boss, without being a pain in the neck to do one things. Okay? And that is what you all strive for. The influence you have is what will make the difference. The influence, you know, You don't gotta go on, because, you know, some people, they trip out.
Yeah.
They know they have the,
Boss
the
L.
boss L
Yeah,
tag.
yeah.
Take her out.
Shoulder stick out.
And
No, it's the truth. It's the truth.
of course, it's true.
Yeah, it's true.
You don't have to be like that.
No.
Okay?
No.
I'll tell you this. Hey,
Yes,
how you doing this morning? Anything you need to talk to me about?
Yeah.
Anybody giving you a problem? Because you know if they're giving you a problem, you got me. You
Yeah,
understand?
yeah,
Completely different.
yeah.
There's a way you make people keep it over your hand. But guess what? You have to seem to esteem them, but then yourself.
Let me ask you this, if an employee comes to HR
Mhm.
with a complaint about their boss,
Mhm.
how do you handle that? I mean.
If the way I always did, if an employee came and had a complaint, I would say, okay, now, do you want me to call your boss, you and your boss? They would say one of two things. If they just wanted to complain, they can say, no, Ms. Marcel, I just wanted
That's
you to
what
know.
I'm saying.
But
Yeah.
if it was,
Afraid of victimization.
Yeah. Yes.
So it's kind of,
Yeah.
a lot of people are victimized if they go to HR, you know?
but
So,
no, but I also, HR has to handle it smartly. Because if you don't, you are causing friction and problems. So normally, if I said, okay, I said, really? Well, why don't we have your boss come in and let's talk about it. We could solve it. No, Miss Marcel, I just want you to know. When it was a real problem, they always said, okay.
Yeah.
Okay? And there were some things we had to do. Sometimes people don't gel.
Yeah.
Those people say their
The
spirits don't take.
don't
Right? And we had a number of stores and stuff like that. So you would find one sales associate who didn't get along with the manager in the store, wasn't doing very well in the store. And all we did was we would take them out and put them in another store and they saw they thrived. They saw it to the top.
Yeah.
Okay? So those are the kinds of situations where HR becomes very influential. Don't try to straighten no back. Okay? My little grandchild told me the other day, Granny, there are more than two, no, do you know that there are even more than two sides to a story? I look at the little girl, she said, oh. And she said, I said, really? She said, yes, Granny. There is my side, there is your side, and then there's the true side. Take that, okay? And so I'm just saying, HR people must always be mindful of that. And HR people must always be mindful that you are trying to sort out a problem, not create a problem. Those people don't have to work with you. They have to work with the manager. And so if an employee comes to you and they want a manager to come in, you have to be willing, if you know that manager was wrong in something, but you have to tell them. And you,
front of the staff though, right there?
you-
Okay, that's what I was.
yeah, because that's the only way you're gonna build trust.
Okay,
You have
because
to
they
tell-
got offended and after
No,
the
no.
said you should not have done that in
Right.
front of the staff.
Right.
But,
They'd
you
be
know,
like, shouldn't we be on the same
that's what
team?
they think. They think
Yeah.
that because you're a manager, you should
Yes.
always be on
Yeah,
their
but
side.
but hold on, we on the same side.
Mhm.
And this is why the way you communicate is so important. So as soon as they come in the meeting, you let them know now, we're meeting here and we are all working for the same thing, okay? The good of the company to make, that's why you get your purpose services and all the things you did, okay? So you let them know, we're a team here, okay? So this let whoever repeat whatever their complaint was, and say to the manager, you know, that was a complaint. How did you react to that? And normally the manager would say, and if the manager didn't react to it right, I believe that in front of that employee, I should say, well, you know, maybe this is how you could have handled it or whatever, so that that employee and that manager know that I am not taking sides, right? And I'm going to be fair, and I'm going to say whatever. And that's how I did it, and I found it easier because managers started to be a little more sensitive in how they deal with employees, because a lot of times they're not. I remember we went to the labor board, and we had a manager in one of the stores, and she was so good. And everybody said she was so good. So how can you write a letter as a manager to put on the lady's file 1 month and everybody, you know, talk about how good she was, and I don't know what happened. There must be had some wrong something. But suddenly the manager came up to my office, told me, she has to be fired. I want her gone. I said, but why? I said, it's gonna cost you broke. You can't do that. He said, guess what? I don't want her in my store. I don't know what you want me to do. Because you don't want her in your store. So you do what you think you have to do. So he fired her. We went to the labor board. Wait, I didn't know. I tell Emmanuel Zadie, I tell them don't do it. Right?
Oh my goodness.
I tell them don't do it. That cost us must be $15,000.
Wow.
But I told
And this is what these managers
do it.
You have to make sure what these people are doing, you fire them.
Yes.
Is it
Yes. And so that's a huge
Yes.
part of HR's function. HR is the supportive, judicial, leading them the right function. Now, they may still do what they have to do, okay? And I have to go to the labor board, but everybody in the labor board know I know better, okay? They know I know better, but I told him, and I told my managing director, don't allow this to happen, okay? And he was kind of like, because the person who did it is a really wonderful company employee. He was excellent. So I guess, and he was normally quite okay, but I don't know what happened. I don't even want to find out, because I'm serious, we had a fire with all good things. Right up to like that month. So there's no way you could justify that. Okay. Nothing. So guess what? It personally cost $15,000, but I was not going to take any rap for it, because I am supposed to know better as the HR person. Okay. And that's why when Salika talked about all those components of HR, you know, labor is an important one. And like you say, employers and managers like to think, listen to how they even refer to an industrial agreement. They don't say industrial agreement, you know what they say? The union contract. So that in itself psychologically says something to you, okay? And so you just have to, my thing is, operate in integrity and honesty, understanding the limits of your authority. If you are given the authority, then use the authority. But make sure that that authority given you is in black and white. All right? I had an incident when I was in the parliament. I was told that BTVI would come under my portfolio and all that. I was given a letter from my senior to say that to me. But I noticed the woman who was the manager at BTVI at the time, man, when I read, she looked at me like I was breathing, I knew something until one evening I see it leaving my building. Okay? So I went to PS and I showed the PS the letter. I said, but I'm supposed to be responsible. Well, I'll never forget that woman. I love her. I love her to death. Because as a politician, you know nothing about how public service operates. You hear what I tell you? And she said to me, she said, Miss Marcel. No, she said, Paul said, whenever a letter comes like this, it means nothing. Because everything has to come through the PS on behalf of the minister or whoever. So I got that coffee show. I was so hurt. But girl, listen, I was so hurt. Okay? Because I could have done something with that place, right? But then she told me, she said, if this was real, it would have never come like this. But this was to like placate you. You know what I mean? But I didn't tell him I ain't got no time to waste. So I was ready to say bye-bye and go with my married mate. But I just said that to say, make sure it's authenticated. Because see, when the what hit the fan, he can turn around and say, I ain't never tell her that. Where she get that from? She should know better. And then you can say, right there. Okay? So, and if he does that, he needs you to do it, then that's fine too. Because that's a way of you doing some of the things you want to do, but subtly, not like a tractor. You know what I mean? Use your influence. And somebody told me many years ago, I went to some conference or something, and I heard somebody use the term the positive manipulation. So you do that. So if we look at our definition of the suggested definition of HR management, you would see that it encompasses all of the things we were talking about. And that is the functions that play a strategic role in managing and directing people, the workplace culture, and the environment of an organization. So as an HR person, you're not only responsible for the people, you're not only responsible for managing and directing people, you're responsible for the workplace culture. So if that manager comes into your office with the employee, right? And you can't tell the manager, you can't tell the employee in his face what's right or wrong, and the manager in his face what's right or wrong. What kind of culture are you encouraging? You encouraging a culture of mistrust, a culture of what's that word you use when people get at people? Vindictive. You're actually encouraging that. But if you could turn that same thing around and say, listen, now I'm here. One of the reasons I'm HR is to help you all work out all these kinds of things. So I am here to help you do that, no matter which way it goes. You see? And that's how we do that. So as a strategic function, and y'all use that word a lot tonight. HR is about human capital management. It's about organizational development. It's about corporate social responsibility. It's about recruitment, engagement, knowledge management of employees, resourcing and talent management. It's about learning and development, the reward of talent. It's about employee relations and employee well-being. That's a whole lot that HR has to do, a whole lot. One of the areas I'd like to see HR get more strengthen, do more about is when you meet talent. What do you all think is the difference between just an employee and a talent?
What's the difference between?
Just an employee and a talent. You know, that's one of the things I liked about Atlantis. When Atlantis came, Atlantis had two kinds of employees, and they referred to one kind as talent. And they ran a whole, they used to run a training called Talent Plus. And you know that was? She reminded me of talent. You know, you have some people, they come in and they do their work, they have skills, but they don't have that thing, oomph. They don't have the oomph, okay? And when you find an employee with oomph, that employee we call talent, okay? And you develop that. But you know what I noticed in some of our organizations?
They knock that down. People
Oh, you
feel
know,
like
so
they
good.
feel threatened.
Oh my God, what is wrong with us? We feel threatened when somebody is good at something. You can't feel that way. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Exactly. And you know, you see a lot of that, especially, well, you see that all over. You see that in the private sector, because as things get more competitive, oh Lord, you know, and then you see it in the public sector. It's a thing, because ain't nobody's teaching nothing. No one. Okay. No one. No. They're weird. They don't teach you anything. Like when I went, we used to work in the post office building, and the lady. This lady came one day and just put all these files on my desk, all to do with training and everything like that. That was my interest. And so they were sitting there, and I saw, you know, the brown things, folders, they tied it up straight.
Yes.
No, this one was. Yeah, they tie it with a string and then you write.
Okay.
And I see all these names on it, right? And I didn't realize the names, and nobody tells you nothing. So, yeah, right, I had no idea. So somebody came to my office one day, right? So I started reading all about how people just pull up on files. It seems like you can't get nothing done in the service and all that. And I said, was it 2 weeks or something like that? She said, so I said, well, I thought they were mine, you know, to browse through and look and then put them in the cabinet and stuff. And she said, no. She's like, you know, you look through my business and I was so humiliated. I was like, what is your problem? Aren't you going to help somebody new?
Yeah.
But you know what that said to me? That said to me, when a new person came in, and HR, we're gonna go through all of these things, okay? It's important for HR to develop a induction or orientation program that is so good. That's not no half a day or 2 days when the employee first comes. Because when an employee comes in and you talking all that stuff to them, and when the company gets in that, the only thing they remember is how much money you're gonna pay them and the frequency of how you're gonna pay them. So there has to be a way of getting back to them intermittently to help them sort these things out. But it's really it's something I noticed. So you wonder how they don't learn, and they don't learn because nobody wants to teach them. And when we were doing the quality movement back in 1992, a quality guru came out of California, and one of the things he said the public servants, wherever they are, because all government, comes with a public sector. He said they become like sea squirts. And he said, you know what the sea squirts are? When we were home in Cat Island, we call them squab. They used to be on the rocks, and you could pull them off and boil them and eat them. We call that a sea squirt. And they are living organisms and they swim through the seas. That's the extent of their brain. They only use it to swim to find a rock. Once they find the rock, they attach themselves to the rock, they eat their brains, and they die. And he said civil servants and government employees and workers are like that. And you think about it. Ain't nobody want to back. If you just back a little piece of your walk and invite someone else to come on that walk, and you show them what you know, and you be a mentor, and you help them and answer their questions and teach them, how much better we will be. But what do? They all go to their walk, they eat their brains, that's why we advancing, period. And they die, okay? And they don't want to listen, young people, a lot of them giddy, but a lot of young people have a lot to offer, and they're not taking away anything from me, they're adding to me. And so when I go and move off the scene, we have people now who are equipped to deal with certain things. But we're so afraid of sharing information and knowledge and that sort of thing. So let's turn to page 6 and let's look at your human resource management as a strategic function and the context of it. And that is to plan, direct, and coordinate the administrative functions of an organization. Now, I want you all to look at those two circles. One says business strategy. That represents your organizational processes. The main things that you do, or the main things that your purpose makes you do. Okay? For example, little one, you can tell us about some of the main things that NIB does. What are some of the main processes of NIB?
We have claims, we have the registration department with the NIB smart cards, and we have the pension verification for persons starting pension, and we have the call center where persons call if they want to know information. We have training calls on the human resources. training department, which deals with orientation, and young employees coming in. And we have the accounts department will deal with, all of basically the business money and everything like that.
Excellent. And so all of those processes make your operational management come up with a business strategy. Okay? This is why a couple of years ago, we spent all the money on that IT system we working at. As you remember, you know, all these things in the newspaper. HR people you're supposed to know what's happening. You're supposed to be listening to the news. You're supposed to be reading your newspaper. This environment and culture we're talking about. So you're supposed to know. So now it's that business strategy. So HR is the other strategic half to that business strategy. Because you have now to organize people in such a way that we get the successful business outcomes that we need. So right in the middle there, the leadership of the organization is the business strategy and the HR management. That's what leads your organization. And so HR ain't no jokey business. Now look at what it says on top there: to plan, direct, and coordinate the administrative functions of an organization. How can you do that unless you sit on that management team? Impossible.
Yep.
Okay? So when you sit at that management team, they are looking to you to how we're going to make this business strategy happen. And when I sometimes I say to HR people, you're supposed to know how many people it takes to successfully run your organization, how many in each department, how many, that's an HR staffing function. And so the reason that's important, and like I said again, in your environment and culture, your too, it may be different. But in your culture, and in your culture is different. Because sometimes I wonder, really you know, but it's like for every employee that leaves, that you let go, you should know that employee has to be replaced.
Right.
There should never be a thing like just bringing in employees, you know? That should never happen. That should never happen. Each one of those departments that you mentioned should have X amount of employees that you know that's needed to function properly. HR is supposed to be the lead on that.
That's provided you don't get a phone call from the politician.
I agree, but this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. It makes it hard.
Yeah.
Girl, I know what them listen things that just come down. You know?
And this silly season.
I know what the recruitment practices. You know what I mean? And you can't get on this list. Maybe next time, you know. And this is why I'm saying, and this is why we started out with the environment and the culture, the framework, so that you know the ability you have and how far you could go, because you could only go so far, okay? But then you can go far in where you can go if you know what you're doing. And so that's how important you are. You are integral to that leadership. And whoever the CEO of that organization, the top of that organization, must know that and accept HR as such. Okay? But some HR get it. So it's kind of hard to take them seriously. But you present yourself seriously and invest in learning the HR terms. And people, Les Brown told me once. Les Brown told me once. We did, y'all know Les Brown, right?
Yeah.
Well, Les Brown came here, and Les Brown and we did a big thing at the Radisson. We had like 1,800 people there and stuff like that. Yeah, man. It was really cool. And he said to me, I don't walk with them gray hair. My hair was going with when I was 11, right? And so he blackens his eyebrows, his mustache, all around him. So he says, you always remember something. This man is so right. He said, you don't have to know everything. You don't have to be smart. Because he ain't smart. He ain't got no schooling like that. He said, but there are some words
Make it sound
that
smart.
you say, right? Some particular words. He said, and look good.
I
serious? And he can make it look good.
Yes.
He says, because people will forget everything you say if you look good.
Remember Miles Monroe said something, dress how you want to be addressed.
Yes.
I always remember that.
That's my man.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yes.
God. I used to tell him you're the only man I'll sit up until 2 o'clock in the morning for.
Yeah.
Because he used to come on TV
Yeah.
at 2 o'clock in the morning. Okay? But basically, these are the things. So when you go to present yourself to your management team, that's when you put on the little power dress, the little power suit, the little, you ain't playing that. You ain't playing. And you're cementing yourself in a serious role. And you go in there, do your homework. Okay? Whatever the case is, you would have already researched and studied. And let me tell you something. Might not know how to work that, but I know how to use Google. You actually anything
I heard. Yeah.
Google it. The wonderful thing about those, what you call it? Those outlets, or however y'all say it, the media things, you get a variety of opinions. Okay? So you pull out what is applicable to you. And you sound so smart. Okay? And then you go in the mirror and practice. You practice facial expressions. I seriously this. Okay? And you practice the look you need at any particular time. Oh, yes, because you go, listen, just look at it like this now. You're in a management meeting, right? And you're sitting down, dress cut to hair, everything falling out. And every time somebody says something, you go,
Yeah.
how did you want to laugh? But you understand what I'm saying?
They're not gonna take you seriously. Yeah.
A difference. Okay? Little things make the difference. So when you're thinking of your role in leadership, HR is as important as the business strategy. Because without effective HR, you will never get that business strategy the way you want it. I don't care how many you people in a recruit. Okay? It'll never work. Because the strategy and the HR ain't working together to make it work. And so you have two roles. You have your traditional HR role. I'm on the bottom part of page 6. The traditional HR role is your supportive role. This is one we were talking about earlier, and we were talking about your recruiting and interviewing and then sitting down and helping to select. So you have the recruitment, the screening, the interviewing and hiring, selection assistance, employee salaries, benefits, rewards, training, custodian, and you are this is really important. You are the main custodian of the company's policies, procedures, rules, and regulations. You can't help people to break them. You can't, okay? And then always focus not on stress, on challenges, on what you can do. HR is supposed to avoid office politics. Now that's a hard one for you, but the way you do it, the more you stick to the policies and procedures governing employees' actions, behaviors, workplace behaviors, the more you can stick to that, the better for you. And that's my Bible. I never telling nobody nothing, but you know that's what you're supposed to do. You know that's what you're supposed to do. I ain't picking on you.
Yeah.
Because your sister telling me, you must have. Let me stop. You don't pay me enough to smile. I said, well, whatever I pay you, that's to smile. Listen, I used to play with them. And I love him, man. But no, you have to, you could be firm, but you could be, okay? And that's what you have to do. And so you have moved now from the traditional supportive role, the personnel role, where we do, play with data, okay? To the innovative role. Your innovative role, that's on page 7, is focused on outcomes. And that is HR-related outcomes. And I think you got to change, I think you would have an S, change that to D for me. HR-related outcomes, for example, lower turnover, reduce absenteeism, increased job satisfaction, and high employment commitment. When you hear, I think one of you talk about employees who say, well, I'd rather not come to work and get it right. Well, what do you do about that? Because it's your job to try to mitigate that and try to, turn that thinking around. What do you do? And when we talk about coaching and counseling, you're going to find that the HR job isn't so much coaching. That's the manager's job or the supervisor's job, but the HR job is counseling. You could provide a lot of help and influence in your organization through counseling. So when you hear that, that's your time to sit down and counsel that employee.
Counseling, coaching, what's the difference?
Coaching is when you're going through somebody's work with them, the actual getting them, to do their work the right way, to do it better. Counseling is more morale building, more, and HR has to be very proficient at that because okay. Before I tell you what I would say, what are some of the things you could say or you might say in a session, in a counseling session with an employee who, before they work around somebody or would rather take a sick day? That same illustration you gave earlier. How would you? Because you shouldn't, you ought not just take that like that.
No, but here's what happens before I can answer that. We have a union in place that basically says to them, oh, that's fine if you don't come into work because you are entitled. You have an industrial agreement that allows you to be out if you don't want to come into work. And once you don't pass that allotted amount, good. So we have a union that encourages it. Yeah, so,
So you just gotta get better than the union that encourages it.
yeah.
Cause see, let me tell you, over in the casino, we had Hotel Catering Workers Union.
Mhm,
This was the El Casino, Princess Casino in Freeport.
mhm.
And that was when union was union.
That was almost last year.
I
Hot
love
man.
that man, so I know so much about that. But I know, I
God
know
rest his soul.
Thomas Bastian,
Yes.
awesome.
Yes,
This,
yes.
I learned so much from this man.
Yes.
This man had the grace of,
Yeah.
and he still does.
Yeah, he does.
And no matter how bad them employees talk him or try to make him feel like you're as big as us,
Yeah, he still has it.
I tell you, I must try to find him. I love
I
that
was
man.
not God.
Would you please? Oh my God. Okay. No. He's worth it. He's a role model. He's worth it.
Yeah, yeah.
And so we had him, right? And then Pat came. So we had that union. We had the musicians
That's
union. That was
he still wears the black.
um
Oh goodness, I can see his face.
you died, right?
Yeah, do that.
But we had them to deal with.
Mhm.
Then all the dancers and stuff, they had union.
Mhm.
So we were dealing with like
Three.
3 unions. And guess what? I'm not bragging, you, but I did my work,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
Because I loved it so much.
Mhm.
But we hardly had problems. And right now they'll tell, it's because you see, you have to make people believe that what they do is worthwhile. You have to build people up. You have to treat people good. I don't know how people treat people bad. You treat people good, okay? You make people believe. I make all my employees believe. Of course, you can do it.
Mhm.
And John said that they would love their department head.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
but-
right
but-
department head just pulling them down,
Yeah.
and pulling them
And
down.
as they
Yes.
pull them down, you have to build them
Build them
up.
up.
It's a constant tug
Yeah.
of war.
Yeah.
And the only way, the only, but the only way to do it, because I used to have the trouble with the cage managers, because they felt that they were superior creatures, okay? And I realized that if I didn't build the trust of the managers in the cage, I would have a problem on the casino floor.
It's a trickle
And
down.
so, yes, and so I let them know through my interactions with them, my actions with them, that I was no threat to them, that I was there as a help, you know? And I mean, it works. And Pat would have told you, Mr. Bastian will tell you, the only time we had a problem was with theft, okay? And that was kind of hard, because they would tell me, we would see the people taking the money and pushing it everywhere conceivable, because we watching
On the camera.
the cameras, the TV, we had whole surveillance from. And then, well, not so much Mr. Bastian. Mr. Bastian would always say things that go on.
Lillian.
Yeah. I would say that.
You see that and say like, no.
Because you can't see what the nomination, the money is,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And we had very few of those. Because one of the things is HR, and one of the things I insisted on was frequent training with the staff, behavioral, attitudinal training with the staff. Now you insist on that. You insist on that, okay? And yeah, training. We call them soft skills. You insist on that with your staff. I used to tell them that in the casino and at Sullivan's, you don't have no choice in this. And they didn't used to get paid for no hours over either. And you have to make training long, okay? Not like this. This long because you all have plenty to do, right? But like an hour and a half, and you could do it like every 3 months, but at least twice a year. Remind them of the things they are supposed to do. I could only see one eye. You there?
I'm here.
Okay. And so that's a big part of your job, okay? And then you also have to help with the organizational outcome. See, because you're supposed to make these people productive, not trying to encourage them. Well, I guess you can say you have a sick day, so have a sick day. No, you supposed. This is why you're talking to the counseling. This is where you come in. I know as well. Nothing in this life is easy. You're not gonna always be here.
Yeah.
You make it, you work as for the next job, not for here.
Yeah.
So that is what HR people do when people come to them, really down and getting at the next fella. And just, I used to tell them, it will occur to you that it's not you. It's not you. It's them. So don't let anybody bring you down. You try to pull them up to you. It's amazing when people have died and you say it's sweet enough.
No, it's the truth. That's the truth.
No, but it's true. It's true. It's true. And that's why I say HR are great influencers. That's your biggest role is you influence.
And let me put this plug in there since that's what we had, because I feel a little good now. So we had an interview process Monday and Tuesday. And the persons, a number of them who came for the interview, of course I had their files. And in their files, you would tell them you wasn't to work all this time, you a lot of latent absentees. No, Ms. Vogel, hide up. I said, okay, show and tell. Nothing like when you see it. I put that file, I said, it's you. Ain't nobody else do this. Yeah, I had to go in there. When they saw the amount of absentees and lates, they were so embarrassed. So two of them, they promised me for the next 2 months. I ain't coming to them.
Don't believe it.
I say, no, but I tell them, I say, because like I tell them, I say, some of them, they're repeat offenders. They all, every month, you could tell, sweet Jesus, they coming in late, I signed something very late. They said to me, I promise you, Ms. Poco, watch me for 2 months. As I watch you, I say, if I see you, the minute I see your name come across my desk, I come and look at you because you promised me in front of these people.
And guess what? They love that here. They love it. They give them a chance. It's
Yeah,
true. They do it all the time.
Yeah.
And they like attention.
Yeah, boy.
They like attention.
Yeah.
No, but where you see that, that's somebody who wants to change.
Yeah.
So they may slip,
Yeah.
but work with them.
Yeah.
Work with them.
And when you tell the managers to stuff like that, like encourage the employee, they say, I can make better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Stupid.
And you get more
Yes.
out of them when you be nice to them. When you
Yeah.
encourage them, you get more out of them.
So this
Get more
is
bees
where
and honey and honey.
your training comes in.
Yeah.
But listen, and you're gonna do HR invest in certain things. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I have these 2 big fat books, and every time I go, I buy some. But I have these books, Games Trainers Play. Okay, and you can Games Trainers Play. And you can like I said, you have to HR, you have to organize sometime with your managers. Okay? You just can't go year after year and don't do nothing with it. The way to get the managers, I have found, managers and supervisors, is to just have like an open, okay, guys, we're gonna have a brunch or breakfast. It's worth it,
Yeah.
okay?
So I think
And then
that-
you sit down and you talk, you air some of the things that um, observe, you find out from them what are some of the things that really, and that's how you build a relationship. And we're gonna talk about that, okay? Let me tell you, HR could be the most rewarding thing in this world, but it comes with work from you that you have to do. All right? Because when you help with those outcomes, the next one is the financial outcomes. And that's higher profit, sales, return on assets, return on investment, more salary, more money. This must be the only place where I hear people, I almost fainted in my last session. They were talking about COVID, right? The place closed down. There were some organizations who still maybe kept people working from home or half day. And a couple of them talk about race time is up and bonus. And I was like,
We have you.
my goodness, man. You know? And so again, HR, this is where your value comes in. Making your people understand. And sometimes it don't have to be in formal situations. You could just pass by and two employees just talking about, man, I give me no raise, and you just look hey, I had a little bit about a raise. But have you ever thought that maybe this is why, or that is why, or you want to come down to my office and talk about it? That's why HR is not supposed to be locked down anywhere. Okay, and then of course you have your number 4, that's your capital market outcomes and your increased market share, Southwest Group, mostly for the private, but for us too, for our, at least our main, I call it our main money maker. We have to invest in certain things for the money to grow. Otherwise, the next 4 or 5 years, I won't have no pension.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't work.
Oh,
That wouldn't work.
Working for
Right. That's a wonderful thing. So just before you're supposed to have 15-minute break. Who wants a 15-minute break? So I'm gonna just finish your management challenges, because what I want you to do for your homework, I want you to do the activity. Okay? How do you see the role/effectiveness of the HR management function in your organization? And so later you can look at any organization that you know.
Okay.
Even Kelly's, see what you can find out.
Okay.
Just go and spot certain things, and because I often wonder if they have any clue what's going on.
Kelly.
Yeah, you ever go in there, and most of the times people just look wondering if the salespeople see you coming, they look like they run down another aisle from you.
Can I use my old place of employment instead?
It is?
She said she
Yeah,
can.
she can.
Oh, yeah, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Let's see what we come up with and some of the things that we need to change. And so
Okay.
let's end on page 8, looking at some of our management challenges, recruitment and selection. And you all know why that could be a challenge, right? What? Say, you know, say when everybody's come, but this is what I want to point out to you, to your HR and people. HR wicked sometimes. HR know of the jobs, and HR save the jobs. the friends, the family, the church member, they tell them first. They tell them first, you know, we looking. That's a problem. And it's a problem because when it's like that, the chances are, this ain't about you. You never get the best people to fit your organization. So that's a challenge. Then corporate restructuring is a challenge. And Atlantis is a good example of that now, right? And Bahama and all them who close and then they open up one hotel and bring back a couple of people and come away. Then the balance between management and employees. Remember, HR, you're not on sides.
Yeah.
You're in the middle, you're the bridge. Then we have training, development, and compensation expense challenges. One of the things that annoys me with training, and HR needs to put their foot down on this. Training isn't about doing a poster, pamphlet, flyer from Ms. Marcel, doing an HR training course. Anybody who would like to go sign up. You know, that's the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard. Okay? Now, I'm kind of impressed that at least everybody in here have, you know, an interest in HR interest. But you know, people do that, and HR, they sign up just to get out of the office. Okay?
Yeah.
They have no interest. So you cannot do that. Okay? And this is why you need to know them files, you know. Because those files indicate to you the type of training that is needed. And that's the training they should get.
Or who should go on
And-
training.
Or who should go on training. You know, because you'll find most of the time all the people who should go on training.
Don't go. Yeah.
But they should go. So that's one HR you deal with. Then dealing with the unions and industrial relations matters, that's a challenge. Performance appraisals is a challenge. We're going to talk about that at length. Retaining talent is a problem. Not retaining employees.
Yeah.
Okay? And most of what we have is employees who stick and they won't go nowhere. If Michael the Archangel come and say, let's go, then go, okay? Employee morale and attrition, I don't think anybody cares.
No.
Teamwork and workplace conflict. Outsourcing some parts of the HR function. And again, watch these words. I mean, like sometimes we react just because, say, outsourcing is a buzzword.
Yeah.
So let's outsource.
Yeah.
And then lack of senior leadership management support. Now, in HR, you've got to get the air of that senior management.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have that support, you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
Okay? And sometimes I think it's so small, I go too much, but it's hard. Okay? But you got to get, and you need leaders with oomph. You need leaders with guts, man. You don't need leaders who say, I ain't got too much longer here, you know?
Yeah, oh, that's a favorite.
Jesus, I'm telling you, that's not what y'all need here. You need spunk.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody in life like or listen to half their people. You need people with spunk. You need people with a little energy.
Yeah.
You need people with, and this is why you need to, you need build that energy or get some before you go to work.
Yeah.
Okay? You in HR, all right? You're the poster. All HR people are the poster people for what that organization should be like. And so, the issues connected to those challenges, bias recruitment and selection practices, showing bias towards employees or management, not understanding the HR support role and competing with managers for employees' affections, lack of development of professional systems to manage HR issues, and lack of adaptability. And we'll briefly go over those when we come back to drilling next week. Just to so you get some examples of some of those down, so you know some things to avoid. And we'll do our next other page on session 1, part B. But just do the SWOT analysis for me on your page 7. And then we'll discuss that when we come in next week. But it's been a joy having you all in. Oh Lord, I didn't like talking to the screen. So I wanted to.
I'm gonna be in attendance to class next week.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, but thanks for being with us tonight, okay?
Okay.
Enjoyed you. And thank you all so much. Let me get my list. I'm staying and get me. Okay, yeah, just sign your names on it. Huh?
I need to love requirements. The requirements, the attendance.
The required one for. We have an exam.
Oh.
I didn't.
Actually, I didn't say it because I'm wondering. Frankly, I don't believe grown-up big people. I don't believe grown-up big people working should do exams. I don't believe that. I prefer, I get my little paper, and I know who participation to me is a big deal. I don't care what you say.
That's how you remember.
That's how you remember, that's how you learn.
Yes.
So I'm not sure. I'll tell you how, what I'll do next week. But it wouldn't, normally I give homework every week. And then I give a term paper. That's like 40% of the mark. So I could do that for this group, or y'all want to have a test, a written test? No, because honestly, okay.
I prefer the participation.
Yeah, so we can do the participation. I'll probably give you 2 pieces of homework, and then for the 5th week, you'll do a paper for me. Okay, that kind of will give me an idea of
Yeah, overall.
right then.
So the course is 5 weeks. Oh, I didn't think that we can 10 weeks.
No, 10 weeks. Intermediate is 10 weeks.
Oh.
Because intermediate, we go through, this is just an introduction, but when you do intermediate, you get into the flesh of all these things, and then you begin right in policy, and you begin.
So it is 10 weeks from me then.
Huh?
It is 10 weeks from me then. No? So you said this is 5
weeks.
But you said,
I said when you
said
said
10 weeks. Pardon me?
It's another.
It's another
It's
course,
another
right,
course.
right. Right,
Right, and the intermediate course is 10 weeks.
okay.
Because that's a lot more detail and work and. Yeah. Mhm. But once you do this one, it makes that one
Much
much
easier.
easier.
Yeah.
Because now with that one, you're thinking like a
HR.
functioning HR strategic person.
But that start right after the end of the 5 weeks. You doing that one too?
I do all that, man. And it ain't we starting out, that's what I'm saying, you know, I mean.
Go on vacation.
Yes.
Yeah, go on vacation.
This here first one, like, one took long to get up the count, this was postponed like 3 times, I thought it was supposed to start like January, then.
But what she told me was that there wasn't sufficient people, and then she was like, persons need to pay. She said people were coming inquiring, and nobody was paying.
Okay.
So,
And then she told me there's not sufficient persons.
Yeah.
I did.
we need to advertise it now.
I just think she needs to advertise it differently,
Yes,
okay?
yeah.
Because it will make, if managers could get an understanding
Mhm.
of HR, it would make HR's job easier and it would make the organization more productive and effective. Yeah. So, ladies, thank you all. I got everybody's. Oh, Lord, man. Oh, yes, please. Bye, see you next week.
All right, bye.